News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. We have a lot of new developments that have come out in the Kansas City Chiefs parade, Super Bowl parade, victory parade, I should say, shootings. And none of it is jiving with the Democrats and Joe Biden and the media and their calls for gun control to grab your gun and my guns. Including what Mayor Quinton Lucas said today, or yesterday it was, at the press conference, one of the latest press conferences, I think the last one they just had. And he said a couple of things you need to hear. I have audio, too. It's damning to Biden and the Democrats and the media that have already demanded that our guns be taken away from us. There is a witness who you have seen on, I believe he's been on Fox News and CNN and all over the place. He was one of the two men that tackled the one of the shooters. And what he said is that he believes unequivocally in his eyes, well, actually, you'll hear it. I'm not going to put words in his mouth. He thinks it's gangs. And he was there, he witnessed it, and he tackled one of the guys. Second of all, the mayor, Quinton Lucas, was asked about it, and he said that they've had shots fired at parades before. Did you hear about any of them? No. You know why? They weren't as high profile nationally, and they also were gang on gang or criminal on criminal violence, like we saw here at the Rangers rally. Remember the Rangers rally where some thug shot another person in the parking lot, and it was a thug with shooting off guns. It was not a terrorism or a gun violence, like they literally said yesterday. So what they do is they come out and they say it's people like you and me that are lawfully carrying and owning that we got to take away your rights and my rights. And then what happens is today and into the next days comes a different narrative than what they told us. They faded into the dark. They crab walked to the side, but they made sure for 24 hours to use dead people and suffering children and adults who've gotten their jaw shot off or been shot off or have been in intensive care to milk their power and their gun grab. But here's what we have. I want to play. But the Mayor Quinton Lucas says this has happened before at parades, shooting. It'll happen, we're still going to have parades. We're not going to shut anything down. That's the context he said it under. He was asked about it. And so we have three suspects. Well, the third suspect was released earlier today. You now then have two juveniles, two young juveniles that very well, according to the reports that are starting to come together, my friend Eric Erickson, who is a well-established, one of the top conservative newsletter and Substack and email, also radio host, now used to fill in for me. Rush has quoted him for years before he passed away, and they were friends. So he said that it is a gang shooting, and that would jive with two juveniles, both African-American, most likely as juveniles, they're illegally possession of firearms, and the pictures of them and this being in custody you will see from my Twitter feed. Follow me on Twitter. What's wrong with you if you've not? 800-288-WBAP is the number. 800-288-9227. And I'm going to play the interview right now, but first I want to give out our phone number. I want to hear from you. 800-288-WBAP. 800-288-9227. And my Twitter feed, again, is at Chris Kroc Show. That's at Chris Kroc Show, CHRISKROK. And I want to ask you some questions. I want to hear from you right now. Call in. Line's wide open for you. Do you think the shooting at the Super Bowl parade yesterday was the result of pro-crime, anti-police policies? They defunded the cops in Kansas City years ago. They also love their thugs and their murderers and their gangbangers. They don't go to jail for long times. They don't have enough cops. Their prosecutors, woke, DA, all that stuff. Do you think the shooting at the Super Bowl parade yesterday in Kansas City was the result of pro-crime, anti-police policies and not what the president and the gun grabbers and media and politicians and Democrat Party are trying to blame it on? Do you also think that any of the gun grabbing, common sense gun control, quote unquote, that lie, would have stopped this from what you've learned so far? And also, if this is all gang and crime related, do you predict the president and leftists will stop mentioning the shooting since it doesn't fit their narrative, particularly the media as well? They already coined this narrative. They already said it and put it out. So it's all a lie. It's all unfolding right now. If so, if you think that the left and the media and their predictions, if it turns out to be gang and crime related, they will, because it doesn't fit their narratives, they'll kind of crab walk to the side. Lastly, if so, if that does happen where it doesn't fit the narrative they've laid out for 24 hours, what does it tell you about these gun grabbers? If this is not true, if what they've been spreading for 24 hours is not true, which is being proven little by little today and yesterday that it doesn't fit the narrative, what does it tell you then about the gun grabbers, about Joe Biden, about the Democrat Party and the media? If it's true that this is just thug-on-thug violence. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let me play you the audio from radio station KTSA in San Antonio. Today they interviewed the guy you've seen in national interviews. His name is Trey Filter. He's one of the two men that tackled one of the two teenage suspects taken into custody, and they released the third person. They don't believe that man did anything wrong. So it's just two people, and they're both juveniles shooting. Oh, I got another piece for you. Listen to this. This all adds up to show you this is all a lie. Everything's a lie. Watch this. The Kansas City shooting survivor, a man who was shot in the ankle, says he overheard a woman telling one of the two shooters, quote, CNN says possible shooter, quote, "Don't do it." Shooting survivor Jacob Gooch Sr., shot in the ankle, overheard this altercation prior to the mass shooting following a parade and rally. Before the gunfire started, he heard a woman tell a presumed shooter, "Don't do it here, not here. This is stupid." Doesn't that sound like that ganglandy? Like, there he is. I'm going to pop him and drop him. No, not here. You're an idiot. Normally I would cheer you on. You're incredible. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Thug, 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 thug. But there's a million people here. Don't do it here. He appears to have lost control with his thuggery and just decided to open up fire and hit 22 people. By the way, as many as 30 injured today, but not all of them are gunshots. 22 are gunshots, reportedly. 8 might be trampled on and such. My daughter said some lady was like holding him back, said the man who was shot and witnessed this, and people started backing up. He pulled it out just after it just started shooting and spinning in a circle. He says he and his wife and his son were all shot. He said his wife, he told Fake News CBS that his wife was shot in the calf while he was shot in the ankle and sustained a few metatarsal bones that it hit. He, his wife, and his daughter all saw the gun being drawn from this guy. Now, here's a witness that was on KTSA in San Antonio with host Trey Ware, and this man is Trey Filter. Trey Filter's been all over the news today on networks and everything as a witness. Listen to what he said on the KTSA Trey Ware show.
In your view, would this be a terrorist act because there were 3 and possibly coordinated, or was this 3 separate gangs that were shooting at each other? Do you have any idea in your mind what this was?
Well, for the amount of shots that we heard and the amount of people that were hit and harmed, whatever it was extremely careless, without any concern for the people around them. So if gang violence is now associated with, gang violence should be associated with mass shootings, because that's what the hell happened.
Yeah.
So.
But you don't know. I mean, you don't have any idea if they were shooting at each other.
It was probably gang related.
And they were shooting at each other,
honestly. And
other people got involved.
But the gentleman I tackled didn't have any colors on. He was wearing brown.
Yeah.
So one gentleman was wearing red. I don't know.
So there you go. He believes, he says it what was that? Sure as hell was gang violence, or sure the hell was gang violence? Like, sure the hell was. He was there. He tackled the guy. He was, and he's one of the two that tackled him. What do you think, guys? I want to hear from you right now. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. We have Phil and Richardson, I think he's one of our greatest callers. He'll be up next out of the box. I want to hear from you. Do you think the shooting at the Super Bowl parade yesterday was the result of pro-crime, anti-police, progressive policies, and not what the president and the gun grabbers are trying to blame it on because of all the defunding police? That's what they've done in Kansas City. And do you think they're huge BLM supporters and lovers? And then do you think any of the gun-grabbing, common-sense gun control, quote-unquote, would have stopped this from what you've learned so far? And if this is all gang and crime-related, as we're hearing, it appears that way, from multiple reports, do you predict the president and the leftists will stop mentioning this shooting since it doesn't fit their narratives? If so, what does it tell you about these gun grabbers? My friend Eric Erickson, as I mentioned, said it was not this senseless act of violence was not white nationalists or domestic terrorists, but of gang members with pre-existing rap sheets who should already be in jail. That's what happens when BLM and George Soros type prosecutors and police chiefs and mayors like Quinton Lucas, there you go. Enjoy. But they're trying to come after us for their progressive Democrat gun-grabbing policies, pro-crime, pro-gangbanger, everything policies. Isn't that freaking surprising? All right, 800-288-WBAP. Your call is next. Phil and Richardson, plus you. Line's wide open for you. I want to hear from you next. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset Chris Crock show. Check this out, my friend and blogger and conservative radio host Eric Erickson writing this today. Rush quoted him all the time before he passed for years. Claire McCaskill, way liberal Democrat, former U.S. Senator, says Republicans are largely from rural areas, she just said, and can't relate to the kind of damage a long gun can do. My friend reports that there's no long gun was ever, let me repeat it this way. A long gun was never used in the Kansas City shooting. In fact, the vast majority of all shootings, and I remember I quoted this yesterday, including that one in Kansas City, are done with handguns. The senseless violence was not an act of white nationalists or domestic terrorists, but of gang members with pre-existing rap sheets who should already be in jail. In May of 2021, the City Council of Kansas City voted to reduce the total police budget by $42.3 million. After the vote was overturned, the anti-police mayor directed $37 million of police funds. I told you he's a BLM prosecutor, mayor, and Marxist, socialist, liberal, Democrat, progressive mayor. He instead, since they couldn't redirect the money out of the cops, he took $37 million from the cops, used it as a community policing fund controlled by his city manager. Budget cuts paired with a DA who refuses to aggressively prosecute criminals results in a city with criminals running the streets. That's what this was. And those policies are Joe Biden's policies. They're the Democrat Party's policies. And they use their ability to let criminals run free and thug and shoot and kill people to blame us for our guns. It's a freaking lie. It's disgusting. I'm going to read some of the quotes from liberal Democrats, the president, and gun grabbers, because it shows they're lying, and everybody knows it now, and you have to hear that. But let me go to Phil and Richardson first, and I want to hear from you as well as Phil. At 800, we have 3 lines open. Call them right now. Do you think the shooting at the Super Bowl parade yesterday was the result of their pro-crime, anti-police policies, defund the police policies, and not what the president and gun grabbers and Democrats and media are trying to blame it on? And do you think any of the gun-grabbing, common-sense gun control that they're proposing would have stopped this from what you've learned so far? And is this all gang-related? If it is it's proving to be so far in all the reports, and crime-related? If it's gang-related and crime-related, do you predict the president and the leftists will stop mentioning this shooting, crab walk out of the picture because they're wrong and we know it, since it doesn't fit their narratives? And if so, what does that tell you about these gun grabbers? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I want to hear from you right now. Phil and Richardson, one of our great callers, and I mean that, Phil. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
Yeah, I called this yesterday, and I'll call now. This will be out of the news cycle by this time tomorrow, because you're right. It doesn't fit the narrative. It actually supports our narrative that BLM is an organization that wants to make it perfectly legal for certain groups to commit crime with no consequences. And so that's what you got going on in St. Louis. So, yeah, this drops because...
This is actually in Kansas City, but it's also going on in St. Louis. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Kansas City. My bad. My apologies. And this same stuff's coming to Dallas, man. It's just...
We have a George Soros prosecutor here, Let Him Go Crusoe, has been funded, and I've got there's a map. Let me see here. I have a map of Soros DA funding. Yeah, here we go. And it's called, I'll tweet this out so you can retweet it. In Dallas, this is from a police law enforcement agency nationwide. Soros gave $1.04 million to get Let Him Go Crusoe elected in his election so far. He wants this to happen. This is why he didn't give Billy Chamimra, the black African national who murdered over 22 people, according to prosecutors. He's been convicted of murdering some of them already. This is why they didn't give him the death penalty in Dallas. He actually did, and then he revoked it after St. George Floyd died from the drug overdose. Blessed be his name. Go ahead and finish your point.
Well, no, I mean, like I said, it's gonna drop out. And I also called this yesterday when I heard about it. I just added it up. Kansas City, high crime, large African American population, a couple guys with beef, settled it in public. Don't care who gets caught in the crossfire. Look what happened at the State Fair.
Yeah, they tried to take away our guns with the State Fair. It was a thug shooting at another guy that he knew. It was the same thing. Exactly. And they said, grab Phil and Richardson's guns. Grab Chris Croc's guns. That's the problem. And they said, and all the Democrats that run this...
Mine are in a safe. They're safely stored, and they don't even know they exist. So
all of these Democrats called for stopping and removing... one of our local Democrats from Dallas said we need to stop allowing concealed carry at the permit. Well, I got two birds up like that, illegal they wanted to come in, that's doing violence on us, that like they walked by that camera, those thugs from Venezuela that Joe let in and beat our cops up. There's my message to those you-know-whats. Appreciate your call, Phil. Great call as always. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Del Walmsley from one of my sponsors, Lifestyles Unlimited, because he is an expert on real estate and investment, and we have massive news to share with you about where the real estate market is right now and why you should look at possibly investing. He's coming up next, then that'll be about 5 minutes. Then after that, we get right back into this. I'm going to be quoting Biden and well-known gun grabbers and what they said, and now we know. Next, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3, Chris Crock Show. And we're talking to Del Walmsley, the CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited. Del, there's a huge event coming up February 17th and 18th at Lifestyles Unlimited in Irving. I want you to tell me all about the upcoming two-day seminar in Dallas.
We got a two-day class coming up here February 17th and 18th in Dallas that is going to probably change many people's lives. The reality is that real estate is always a good thing to invest in. Whether the market's up or the market's down, we make money in real estate 5-6 different ways. But what the Fed has done recently with the interest rates, it has annihilated the marketplace. And so what's happening right now is, unlike in the last 5 or 10 or 15 years, real estate prices are down 20 to 40% across the board in many of the deals that we're looking at. And many, many people are upside down on the properties they bought when they paid way too much when the prices were high. And so they're being forced to let these things go. So we're in a situation where normally we buy real estate because it's a great investment, but this is a great investment topped off with a great opportunity. So you need to get in there. What we've done is we set up an opportunity for you to get in cheaper than you normally would because we don't want you to miss out on this. What we've done is we set up a $740 membership for 1 year and cut it down to $297 for 2 years. I'm hoping this kind of a discount will get you off the couch and get you out there right now when, quite honestly, you can make some unbelievable results happen in your life. So I want you to go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Again, GiveMeTotalFreedom.com and sign up. It's just $297 for 2-year membership. You can't beat that price and that value. So get in here. Let's get your situation changing. Let's get you out of the rat race and get you out there making some passive income that will change your life.
Del, tell me about your mission to help people find financial freedom in the Del Help Me Now initiative. Tell me how this works, Del.
Well, it's been my mission for over 30 years to help people find financial freedom. And the reality is most people are living a life of quiet desperation. They get up every day and they go to the cubicle. They drive long hours to get to the cubicle. They spend the whole day in the cubicle, and they drive long hours to get home. And for those that are not in the cubicle, the other ones are on that little rat race wheel where you run and run and run and run just like a little gerbil in the gerbil cage, and then you go home. It's just something that at 34 years of age, I retired. Ever since then, I thought other people should know that there's different options available to them if they get out there and do some different things. Real estate will provide those options for you.
What do listeners need to do to register and or get involved?
If you want to get involved during this very opportunistic time right now, which I'm really excited about, and I'm back investing at a very much faster pace than I have been in the past, you need to go to our website right now. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. That's GiveMeTotalFreedom.com, and you can pick up your membership, which is normally $740 for 1 year. You can pick it up for $297 for 2 years. Don't miss this opportunity. I'm discounting the heck out of this thing because I want to see you get up off the couch and change your life.
Del, is now the right time, though, to invest? And if so or not, why?
Now is the right time to invest because what has happened over the last 10 or 15 years is interest rates kept going down, prices kept going up until you got to the point where, the price of real estate's making it almost prohibitive for people to get into it. At this point right now, after the Fed slammed the interest rates up, it has made it to where prices have come down 20 to 40%. And it's available and possible again for people to make the kinds of gains I made back in 2008 when I quadrupled my personal net worth. Now's the time to go. Let's get you in there. Remember, GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. And get your discounted price today.
Del, how can our listeners prepare for their financial future now so that they will not end up living a life of paycheck to paycheck in quiet desperation?
We've got a seminar coming up here in Dallas on the February 17th and 18th weekend of Saturday and Sunday, where you're going to learn how to locate these special deals, negotiate, contract, close, and operate these properties for massive profits. It's a situation where you may never be able to take this information, which is we teach all the time, but this information now is going to be added to information about what's going on in the marketplace today. This is a fantastic opportunity. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com and get the discount today.
All right, Del, so that event, again, to make sure, is a Dallas-Fort Worth 2-day seminar, February 17th and 18th at Lifestyles Unlimited in Irving. Been to those offices, been taught from you guys. That's coming up, and I want all the details, if you want them, for the 17th and 18th upcoming Lifestyles Unlimited event. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. That's GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Thanks, Del. Now, here, I want to get right back into it. And again, thank you to Del. The interest rates, the fluctuation, the investments, wise people buy investments sometimes at the exact opposite time we would think. And that's wisdom, depending on what you know and who you know. Let's get back into this shooting. I want to catch you right back up to speed. One of the shooting survivors. Do I need to replay the interview or from earlier that I played, the clip from KTSA? You think we're good on that? Producer Garrett, thoughts? Okay, we're going to catch you up. I'm going to play this interview. This is from the station I have a relationship with, and their morning show earlier today interviewed one of the witnesses who tackled one of the two shooters at the Chiefs rally yesterday, and he says that it's gang related, it's gangbangers. Here we go.
In your view, would this be a terrorist act because there were three and possibly coordinated, or was this three separate gangs that were shooting at each other? Do you have any idea in your mind what this was?
Well, for the amount of shots that we heard and the amount of people that were hit and harmed, whatever it was extremely careless without any concern for the people around them. So if gang violence is now associated with gang violence should be associated with mass shootings, because that's what the hell happened.
Yeah.
So.
But you don't know. I mean, you don't have any idea if they were shooting at each other.
It was probably gang related.
And they were shooting at each other,
honestly.
And other people got involved.
But the gentleman I tackled didn't have any colors on. He was wearing brown.
Yeah.
So one gentleman was wearing red. I don't know.
He said they sure as hell. What did he say? It sure as hell was gang related. So that's what the witness who tackled him, one of the two witnesses that tackled him, said. Also, the shooting survivor, Jacob Gooch Sr., his wife, and his daughter have been shot. They were right next to one of the gunmen, and there was a woman with him, and the lady was saying, quote, they saw him pull his gun out and draw it, and then they saw this go down. My daughter said some lady was like holding him back, and people had started backing up, and then he pulled it out, the gun, and started shooting and spinning in a circle. So the woman was probably his girlfriend, and because she said, don't do it, she was with him. Not here. That's and it jives with the witness saying it was gangland shooting. And then also my friend, conservative blogger, columnist, and radio host, Eric Erickson, said a long gun was never used in the shooting. In fact, the vast majority, even if they got an AK-47, it doesn't mean it was used. It was never used in the shooting because handguns were recovered, they said. In fact, the vast majority of all shootings, I told you this last night, including the one in Kansas City, are done with handguns. This senseless violence was not an act of a white nationalist or a domestic terrorist, but of gang members, he says, with pre-existing rap sheets who should already be in jail. In 2021, City of Kansas City, their council voted to reduce police budget to defund cops by $42.5 million. After it was overturned, the anti-cop liberal Democrat BLM mayor redirected $37 million, took it out of the police funds and used it in a community policing fund controlled by his city manager. Police budget cuts paired with a DA who refuses to aggressively prosecute criminals results in the city with criminals running the streets, which is why Mayor Lucas said today at the press conference or yesterday, the last one they had, he said there were shootings at other parades before. This happens at our parades. A lot of violence, a lot of shooting in Kansas City. And I could have told you that, as I mentioned yesterday. I've filled in for them for a couple of years, so you get to know the market and their the bad stuff. Second of all, this is the most important thing to put a bow on this. The one woman with 330,000 followers, a liberal named Charlotte Clymer, wrote this tweet: "Gun laws in Missouri. No, this was yesterday at 2:54 p.m. Gun laws in Missouri. No background checks for private sales. No permit required for concealed carry. No permit required for open carry. No license required for owners. No firearm registration. No assault weapon law. No magazine restriction." That didn't happen. That didn't mean anything. Both of them are minors. They were unlawfully in possession of a gun. No law she mentions were to stop it. Why do you want to take away our guns and our rights? Second of all, Joe Biden did the same dang thing. He said Kansas City, Atlanta, D.C. Today, 6 years since Parkland. Oh, there you go. Bring in Parkland. Acts of gun violence. Guns don't commit violence. Cut deep in the American soul. Not a Dr. Jill and I prayed for those killed and injured today and for our country to find the resolve to end this senseless epidemic of gun violence. He wants to, he mentioned assault weapons and bans. It wouldn't have done anything in this. They were unlawfully in possession. The reports are now that gangbangers, it was over each other. They were mad at each other. And there you go. So don't worry, though. If we take away our guns, take away our rights, that will help the thugs from stop murdering each other and killing us in the process. Not. Up next, Travis Kelce had another red flag. Another one. He had two red flags yesterday. One during the parade, rip-roaring drunk, and then one after the parade. What was it? You're not going to believe this. It is bad. That's next.
You know this song, sing along. Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in booze, and ruin the Niners affair. The last one to know. We were the last one to show. We were the last ones they thought they'd see there. And I saw the surprise, that fear in their eyes. And when we took that glass of champagne, Pat took that glass of champagne, I promise you. When I took, and I toasted you, honey, we through what I never, what? I got friends in low places. Down in low places that lead the way. And we'll be all good. Oh, I got real.
All right. That was Travis Kelce yesterday, minutes before the terrorist attack by what appears now to be, from several reports saying it was criminals, gangbangers with long rap sheets shooting at each other, and not white supremacists, Trumpers, J6ers, insurrectionists, and people like you and me that are lawful firearms owners and conservative and or more conservative types. It was not us, it was them, the gangbangers. And this guy, Kelce, like, this is minutes before all that, right? So the parade ends, and then the shootout happens. Everybody's terrified and running. And now we learn more, and we're learning even more each hour passes. And guess what we learned about Travis Kelce? That as it got dark after the horrific, terrifying attack, we saw that his the leader of his entire team, he's one of them, but the leader of his team, their quarterback, Pat Mahomes, tweeted out, "I'm praying for Kansas City." What Trey did, what's his name, Kelce, what Travis did is, instead of praying for Kansas City or just getting sober, and thinking about his how much he embarrassed himself and everybody there and made a poor example for children, and his reputation being more in tatters, guess what he does? He shows up at a bar in Kansas City, downtown Kansas City, and he's taking pictures with cops as he's entering a bar to party. So a lot of people went nuts on this tonight, because while everybody else is praying and healing and in shock, he sobers up for a few hours and goes back out and parties in public, acting like everything's fine, like the shooting never happened. So this is another red flag. I said that when I saw this, but guess what? That's exactly what the Daily Mail said today. Another red flag. Fury at, quote, caveman Travis Kelce. Others called him in this coverage, they say, douchebag. He's called that too by people publicly for what he did. At just hours after 30 fans were shot, including 9 kids and 1 killed. And the mayor saying it's ages 6 to 15. So he goes out and gets sober enough to walk around, goes out downtown, and is partying in public, taking selfies with people. What do you think? Is that, as I believe, do you agree with me, that's another red flag? The first one is screaming at your coach in front of everybody on the Super Bowl and then shoving him. The next one is showing up drunk, massively rip-roaring drunk, and embarrassing himself and making families and children uncomfortable, as you heard him. He had to be held up. If you saw that by now, he had to be held up by his players, and they took the mic out of his hand. They pretended to laugh it off, but they weren't. And then hours later, a third red flag. Within 3 days, a third red flag. Where he is now going out and partying, taking selfies with people in public when everybody else is supposed to be suffering and praying. You're going to find out why with Travis Kelce. I didn't know this until I found out this afternoon. There's a long history this guy has of being troubled. And lo and behold, Taylor Swift is still with him as of right now. I want to ask you about this. Do you think Taylor Swift will dump him now? Do you think she'll still stand by him? Is this another red flag to you And does it make his outburst at his coach during the Super Bowl and his over-the-top drunkenness at the parade look even worse to you? Do you think this could pull down Swift's career pretty badly if she continues to be around him? All that next. I want to hear from you right now. Lines wide open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. I'm going to give you more of a sordid history from this guy that are massive red flags for his basis of who he is as a young adult going into where he's at right now. This is all bad news. We'll take your call next, 800-288-WBAP, and I'll give you his history pre the Super Bowl next.